doing my rant about the perception of data costs a lot of money. So let's actually do some analysis. Maybe I can do this in half an hour, maybe I can't, but um, I'm not going to limit myself to half an hour, but I think I can do it in half an hour. But so, first thing I want to show is you have to always have some data to compare to. It's hard. I mean, you can look at data in a void and um, kind of assume, but kind of look at was this a good technique or was it a bad technique. But it's always good to have something to compare to. So what we're doing is I'm looking at the the, the lap before and the lap that the crash happened. So it's right before, same days, same the day the lap before the crash. And I'm gonna show you both laps in sync so you can see, or sequentially so you can see what I'm saying. But that text might be a little bit small, so let's see if this text is a bit bigger. Da, da, da. Why did you show? So these are all the laps. The lap I didn't finish the lap that I crashed in, so it's considered an in lap. But you can see this is all the laps of that short stint I did. Basically, it was just getting warmed up, and then I don't know why these are so slow actually, but a 55.665, 55.657, a 55.21271, and then my crash. Um, so you can see that I was consistent. I was on it. You know, basically dropping a half a second um, before the crash. But that's here or there. Okay, so the second thing I want, let's clean it up. Okay, so the second thing I want to show you, or just to get out of the way, is the video and the data being in sync. Um, this is having data, having video in sync with your data is sounds easy, but it's really really hard to do. That's why you buy good camera system. But that's here or there. Cameras are just to basically put the data in geographically context. Um, GPS is not good enough. Can't stress that enough. GPS is not good enough. But let's forward. Okay. Um, I think it's too zoomed in. So I have made a waypoint. Basically, you can see that the start. You can see the start line right there, and this corner right here is my waypoint within a foot. This is GPS based. GPS is great at locating a point on the earth. It's terrible for getting data from. It's too much noise from the ionosphere that you can't use it for data. You need to, I mean, I can go into that, but I'm not, that's another rant. But basically, I wanted to show is the video is completely in sync with the data. So that's the point. You can see that the from one lap to the next lap is in sync with the video. Okay, good enough. So let's okay. Now I'm going to basically show that the two laps we're comparing are sequentially done. So here's both laps. First lap. Okay. This Mustang is a 24 Hours of Lemons Mustang, and he was using basically all season tires. I think they were just practicing and using whatever tires they could get cheap as possible. Like $30 tires. But anyways. Since there's no audio, I'll describe the different colors. The map is pink or magenta is full throttle. The red to orange yellow, well, yellow, orange, red is increasing brake pressure. Green to blue is increasing throttle to the point where you go full throttle, which turns magenta. The black little points is zero throttle, zero brakes. So I'm coasting, or I'm shifting, or but so this is the end of the first lap that we're going to compare to. Decently fast. For the tires I was on, and I'll get to about that at the end. So here's the lap of the crash. Now this is what the video looks like when you have everything synced to distance, not time. See how it jumped? It's because there was no distance. So I had to wait till I started moving again to advance. But it's important that the data is based off distance, not time. To keep everything relatively in sync. Well, keep everything in sync when you're comparing two pieces of data. Okay, that's that. Okay, so we're done there. So what I'm gonna do, swap these around. Okay, let's make this clear. Okay, so let's look at it done correctly first. So, so this is the lap prior to the crash. Okay, it doesn't have to be that long. Now let's look at the crash lap. Okay. Oh, let's see here. Okay. Let's look at the. Truncate this a little bit more. Okay. So you can see on the map here that the part that we're looking at is basically the end of the straight. Here, I'll go like this. There. So we're looking at the end of the straight, going from gas to brake, then full brake, bleeding off the brake, shifting, applying brake, getting off the brake, and turning. Okay, so that's what the colors look like. Now you can look at lines also. So going, getting off the throttle, get on the brake, bleeding off the brake, shifting, and then getting back on the brake. Now this brake application should have been stronger, but right here should have been stronger. But getting off the brake, and turning the car. Okay. Now, so I'm not saying this is correct or incorrect or anything like that. I right foot brake, I don't heel and toe. Um, and as I'm coming here, I'm getting a sense of my speed and how I'm going to get the car to rotate around there. Okay. So that's my intent. Now let's make this steering, because steering could be significant in why did the car turn as much as it did. So the maximum steering angle I got into this was 30 degrees right there. Okay. To turn right, and then turn left I oversteer like I normally do, but basically negative 100 or basically 100 degrees of steering. That's what I'm working on. But this is the correct. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the other lap overlay this, and I'm going to make let's do this is the crash. Okay. So brake, get off the gas, shifting, let the clutch out, and then everything goes haywire. Now, did I clip the... I might clip... Okay, first theory is while I'm heavily loaded, I have almost a full G of lateral load, and this is why you get video, because okay, so I'm turned. No, I'm spinning before I even come to that curb, because look where I'm counter steering. I'm counter steering before the curb. You can see it in the video. You can also see. Oh, by the way, this superimposed video is automatically made inside the Race Logic hardware. I didn't make this. This is made in real time by the Race Logic hardware. I just have two cameras and it's superimposed. So the main video and this video are in sync because they're recorded that way. So at what point the one thing I wish I had is a yaw sensor. I don't have a yaw sensor, which is rotation, like an airplane using the rudder or a boat using the rudder yaw. because the car starts yawing, and um, and I feel it in my butt, and I start counter steering right there. Okay, so why did this happen? Um, it's not obvious here, okay? Because I'm I'm braking with the degrees is right there. I'm braking with. I start with 5 degrees of steering input, and I end up with 15 degrees of steering input. It's not like I had a lot of steering input in when the yaw started happening. See, now it's like 20 degrees. Okay. Now my theory is, okay, so hypothesis or theory, but you can see now you can see the clutch coming out as the RPM is rising. And so you want to know how much time? Let's put that. Okay, so each of these vertical lines is 2 seconds. Okay, so I could zoom in, but I don't want to. I don't want to screw up the framing. But it looks like about a half a second that the clutch is coming out. So I didn't jump off it, but it wasn't slow either. Okay, so now we're back in distance. So I'm seeing some component that it happened while I was releasing the clutch. I don't see. You're not seeing the yaw in the lateral lunge, other than maybe you see it. No, that's me getting off the brake is what's causing this to go up. But from here to here, from here to here, the car starts yawing, and then I start reacting. And that's a span of that's 450, 550. A span of 100 feet. Okay, so my theory is the car was already heavily. The car was already pretty increasingly here. This will make it simpler. Okay. So we're looking at, okay, so I'm coming off the brakes, increasing steering, taking the clutch out, and the car yaws. Okay, so and I want to make this more evident. this is lateral. Okay, and I can do long. Okay, so now basically I manually put in the scaling. So 0, 0 in G's is right in the middle. And I don't know if you can see on the stream, but there's a little magenta crosshair, and that crosshair is corresponding with where the, the yellow line is. So let's follow the magenta crosshair. Maybe that can give us some, because this is what the tire the tire contact patch is actually feeling, is what's shown on here. Okay, so going, it's going to come down, it's going to break. The color of this line is brake pressure. The hotter the color, the more brake pressure. Okay, so it's blue and green. Okay, so it's coming down. It's got a little bit of a lateral, but it's mostly straight down. Now I'm gauging the lateral, okay, but what is causing the spin is it didn't go right here. It lost traction right there, and basically lost my braking and went vertical instead of going like this. Here, let me show you. Let's compare it to the now this is see how, here, let's go back. Same exact point, but this is the previous lap, the good lap. Come around here, come in, braking, and then adding lateral G's, and see how it's not the best technique, but you can see how it's going down and then mixing in the lateral. Okay, if this was good technique, it would be like that, but I'm just using as an example. Okay, so now let's go back to the crash. Okay, so the absolute second when it started spinning was right there, because if I go watch the cursor, I lost braking. Here's lost braking, but I'm still turning. And I feel that, and I'm starting to turn the steering wheel because my butt is feeling it. So if you want visual proof of what you can feel on your butt, there it is. It's hard to see it. I mean, you can see it right there too, that vertical, but looking at just lines like this isn't always the most intuitive thing, where if you do a GG graph like this, it becomes very evident. And this graph, the GG graph, is why you need to have really high sample rates. Okay, I went for your data logger. That's this GG graph, and being able to use it as a tool of diagnosis of what's going on, and also driver education and improvement, and trying to improve my technique. It's all in this graph, and to get this graph to work well, you need to have a very high sample rate. You can look at this graph and see, okay, I can see how that line's going. I don't need all these little data points. Okay, but to do this graph, you do need all the little data points, and so that's why you have really high frequency logging of lat and log. Okay, so half an hour is left, gone. So let me continue. Let's stop this and we'll start the next one.